The Asdishar Palace is a masterwork of stone and silk, but for Moiraine Damodred, these corridors are a labyrinth of secrets. She's a young magical scholar on a hunt that must remain hidden, searching for a child prophesied to either save the world or break it. Elsewhere in the palace, Lan Mandragoran navigates a different kind of danger. As an exiled king, he survives on his wits and the steady counsel of his mentor, Bukama, the man who carried him to safety when his kingdom fell. That lifelong bond ends in a narrow stone passage. Lan finds Bukama face down in the dirt, a common wooden dagger buried in his back. The assassination shifts the palace atmosphere instantly. Courtly intrigue has given way to an active hunting ground, and Lan is the next target. As Lan reaches a wide staircase, an invisible force yanks his ankles and shoves his shoulders. He is thrown violently into the air, tumbling down the stone steps in a blur of broken marble and bruised bone. Lan limps to Moraine's door and bursts inside, his hand on his sword. He knows only an Aes Sedai could have manipulated the air to throw him, and she is the only sister he's encountered since the killing began. Moiraine realizes she didn't attack him, but she knows who could have. She remembers Marian, a maternal figure in her order, watching her from the shadows and making veiled threats about her disguise. Marian is the only sister strong enough to strike from a distance, and the only one who knew Lan was watching her. The realization is chilling. A member of the legendary Black Aja is operating in the heart of the palace. To survive the night, the scholar and the swordsman have to trust each other. They reach a high, isolated balcony to find Marian waiting. She has already taken hostages. The prince and 2 young children are suspended in midair, held over the edge by invisible tethers of magic. Rhine, a traitorous swordsman, draws his blade to protect the sorceress. He and Lan engage in a blindingly fast duel, their steel humming as they move in a fluid dance across the stone. While the swords clash, Moiraine attempts to shield the hostages, but she is hopelessly outmatched. Marianne has decades of experience and far more raw power, easily shattering Moraine's defenses and draining her strength. Marianne decides to end the stalemate with a display of cruelty. With a casual flick of her wrist, she severs the flow of magic holding the youngest boy, letting him plummet silently into the void. The horror of the moment ends any hesitation Moiraine had. The Black Aja has no humanity to appeal to. This is no longer a duel of rules, but a fight for survival. The prince, seeing his son fall, looks at Marianne with a face of pure, silent hate. He doesn't wait for her next move. He lunges into the abyss after his child, choosing the fall over her captivity. With Marianne's focus on the prince, Moiraine sees her only opening. She crawls across the stone, ignores the Fuente of magic, and physically plunges her dagger into Moraine's back. The sorceress dies, and her spells vanish. Moiraine lunges to catch the last hostage, a young girl, but her fingers are covered in blood. The girl's hand risbalas through Moraine's grip, and she falls into the darkness. On the other side of the balcony, Lan finishes his fight. He lands a final, fatal blow on Rhine, ending the physical threat as the silence of the night returns. They won the battle, but the cost was 3 innocent lives. The blood on their hands is a reminder that standing against the shadow demands a price that can never be recovered. Hours later, Moiraine and Siuan sit in the dark, connecting the tragedy on the balcony to reports coming in from across the continent. This diagram reveals the scope of the enemy's plan. The victims aren't random. They are all men and boys known for inexplicable luck or sudden, sharp talent, traits that signal latent magical potential. The Black Aja knows the savior has been reborn, but they are blind to his identity. To compensate, they are slaughtering thousands of innocents, hoping that by casting a wide enough net, they will eventually kill the one child who matters. The world has no idea this genocide is happening. Siuan decides she must return to the heart of their order to act as a mole, while Moiraine stays in the field to find the child first. North of the city, Lan Mandragoran kneels by a dying fire. He scatters a handful of earth and prepares to ride into the Blight, seeking a warrior's death now that his mentor is gone and his duty is seemingly over. Moiraine finds him there. She tells him that his war isn't finished, that the savior is out there, the shadow is already killing to find him, and she cannot protect the child alone. Lan makes a choice. He turns away from his death wish and kneels, laying his bare blade across his hands. He swears his life and his steel to her, binding his fate to hers as a warder. Out of the loss of their friends and the failure on the balcony, a new front in the war was formed. Two people, bound by an oath, began the journey to find the light before the shadow could extinguish it.